Story of famous dogs. For the dog that chases his tail, will be busy. These are the clapping dogs, rhythmic dogs, harmonic dogs, house dogs, street dogs, dogs of the world unite. Dancing dogs, clapping dogs, funky dogs.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started here. Welcome y'all to our Black community welcome. We know people are still trickling into the room, but we wanna go ahead and get started. Go ahead and introduce yourself in the chat. I'm loving that people are dropping in their name, their pronouns, and where they're from, so we can create some engagement in the space. So good afternoon again. Welcome to our Black community welcome. My name is Dr. Rosalind Connerly, and I use she, her pronouns. And I'm the Associate Dean and Director of the Black Community Services Center here at Stanford University. We are also affectionately known as the Black House. Before we get started, I want to highlight some features we'll be using today. The session's recorded. We wanted to record today in case there were folks that could not make it, and we wanted them to be able to view this later. So keep that in mind. Again, the chat feature is live, so please feel free to engage throughout the program, clap, do some call and response, because we can't feel your energy because we can't see you. So please use the chat. To any current Stanford students, staff, faculty, alums in the room, please also introduce yourself in the chat so we can know who's here and folks can start meeting one another. Awesome. All right, and I want to do a special shout out, not sure if he's logged on yet, to Redrick Taylor. Redrick is our liaison in the Office of Admission, and some of you may have met him already, but he'll be engaging in the chat as well. So shout out to Redrick. So again, welcome and congrats to all of the admitted students, all the families. Hopefully you'll be able to virtually engage with current students, staff, and faculty over the weekend and the rest of April, because we now have what we're calling Cardinal Days. So you have plenty of opportunities to engage with folks. This is my third community welcome at Stanford, and is one of my favorite times of the year on campus because everyone is excited and we're so looking forward to virtually meeting all of you. I've been in my role a little over 2 years, so still really filling out and getting to know a lot about Stanford's campus. I was in a similar role at USC down in LA before, and so I am so familiar with Admit Weekend, and I know the importance of getting your final questions answered before making this life-changing decision for you and your family. I want you to also be sure, if you're not, to check out our page on Cardinal Quad if you have any lingering questions after today's event. Okay, so tuning in today, we have admits, we have families, we have staff, we have faculty, some alum tuning in, all to learn a little bit more and to welcome you to our community, but also admits for you to learn a little bit about ours. So a little bit about the Black House. Our center is over 50 years old, and we really assist students with finding connection points from across the Black diaspora, as well as with the intellectual and identity development of our Black students outside of the classroom. All of our programs and initiatives are guided by our 5 pillars, which are academic and intellectual development, mental health and well-being, leadership development, alumni engagement, and community building. The leadership of our center is comprised of over 20 student staff and interns, 2 professional staff, and we are one of the 7 centers at Stanford that make up the Centers for Equity, Community, and Leadership. And some of our other fellow community centers have events today as well. Each Admit Weekend, our Black Community Welcome provides an opportunity for admitted students and their families to get a snapshot of our Black community here. And today, you will hear from some special folks in our community, as well as our BROC coordinators And we'll also be having a panel discussion featuring current Stanford students. We know that some of you may have already committed and some of you are making your final decisions. So please soak up all the energy and knowledge that will be shared today. Okay, I would like to give a special shout out to our Brock coordinators as well as Dom Johnson, who's our new associate director. They've all been working really hard to put things together for this weekend and to make sure that we were good to go. Okay, I want to make a note that you see the Q&A box at the bottom. Please, throughout the program, if you have specific questions, if you can drop them there, that way we can kind of aggregate everything. All right, with that, I'm going to pass it to our Brock coordinators to continue with the program.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, another congratulations on your acceptance to Stanford. We are all very proud of you and hope that you are excited as we are for the next chapter in your lives. We are your 2020-2021 Brock coordinators, and Brock stands for the Black Recruitment and Orientation Committee. We are responsible for organizing programming for incoming students throughout the year, including but not limited to Admin Weekend and New Student Orientation, as well as the Big Sib, Little Sib program, which you all will get information for at a later date. We are very excited to have you here today, and we hope you enjoy all the information that you get from today's panel. I am Caleb Trevier. I am from Chicago, Illinois. I am a rising junior, so current sophomore, he, him pronouns, and my major is chemical engineering with a focus on chemistry of the environment. And I will pass it to my fellow Brock coordinators to introduce themselves.
Hello, everyone. My name is Darren. I'm a sophomore. I use she, her pronouns. I'm from Long Beach, California, and I am double majoring in sociology and African American studies.
Hey y'all, my name is Gabby Crooks. I use she, her pronouns. I'm from Germantown, Maryland, and currently majoring in international relations with minors in human rights and Spanish. And one of our Brock coordinators, Chase Swinton, couldn't be here today, but I just want to give a brief introduction to her because she's also an amazing resource. So her name is Chase. She uses she, her pronouns. She's from Sherwood, Arkansas, also a sophomore like the rest of us, and she's majoring in symbolic systems. So like Caleb and Darren and I, we were all so excited to have you here today. And so to kick off this welcome, we are going to introduce one of our many special guests, Dr. Brian Brown. So before Dr. Brown speaks with you all, I want to just give a brief bio. So Dr. Brian Brown is a professor of teacher education in the Graduate School of Education here at Stanford, and his research interests explore the relationship between student identity, discourse, classroom culture, and academic achievement in science education. He focuses on the social connotations and cultural politics of science discourse and small group and whole group interaction. His research has expanded beyond his focus on science education to include issues of college access in urban communities. His recent work explores how classroom and school culture shapes access to higher education. He's been awarded the 2021 Outstanding Book Award from the American Association of Colleges for Teacher Education, a national alliance focused on pre-K through 12 teacher preparation. Brown was recognized for his 2019 book, Science in the City, which examines the role that language and culture can play in science education. We're so excited for you to hear from Dr. Brown today.
All right, I hope you all can hear me. I hope you're doing well. There's nothing more challenging than to give a 20-second speech, and so they asked me to be as brief as possible. So I have a very simple message for you that I'd like to share, and it's an honor to be here to welcome you to Stanford. So let me start by saying there's something about Stanford that I think is really underrepresented, and I want to use an African proverb to kind of frame it. And there's a proverb that says, until lions have historians, hunters will always be heroes. And the issue is, what story are we able to hear? And Stanford has a quiet secret. I'm gonna let you in on the secret. Stanford is building a tradition of Black excellence that is often unspoken. And so when you think about people like Issa Rae, Sterling Brown, or Mayor Michael Tubbs, or even one of my favorites, a student that I knew many years ago, Michael Thomas of the Houston Texans, these are people who are living through their own authenticity and impacting the world in the way that they are. They're not conforming to society, but rather saying, I am who I am. I'm going to live in Black excellence, and I'm going to have an impact. And so each of them is bringing the world a sense of excellence in a very authentic way. And so telling their own story. I have good news, is that in the same way that we need to tell authentic stories of community, there's a story that is yet to be told, and that's your story. Someone on this call is the greatest novelist to tell a story of their particular context in their life. Someone on this call will be the next great computer scientist. Someone on this call will be the great next physician and impact communities in ways that people simply don't know about. And so in the same way as the African proverb tells us that until lions have historians, hunters will always be heroes, there's something special that's happening here at Stanford. It is a place where extraordinary people gather to do things that are really impactful. But here's the better message, is that you don't have to be anything other than who you are. There's something about being ordinarily extraordinary that I want to send as a message today. Is just being who you are is more than enough. And I think that is what combines and connects the people at Stanford University, is asking the right questions, connecting to the right people, and challenging ourselves to grow as human beings in our own authenticity. And so there's a kind of colloquial statement that says, a rising tide raises all ships. And when you bring together people who have a collective passion to serve, who have a collective passion to provide excellence to the world, then you'll grow in excellence with that group of people. And that's something that's special to the Stanford community. So I'm going to leave you with 4 points. I'm going to share 4 points of advice about being a member of Stanford. The first, it's going to sound a little contradictory, but lower your expectations. Things are hard. School is supposed to be hard. And when you get here, it's in those difficult moments, that's when we grow. I mean, I'm excited for what you're going to experience. You're going to experience frosh and sophomores who really did not get a chance to get to know each other, coming to campus and really creating something new. You have an opportunity to shape a Black experience, but I'm asking that what you do is to come with open hearts, open ears, and lower your expectations. Perfection is not the goal, it's connection that is what we should see. The second is learning to laugh. We talk about excellence, but part of being excellent is the learning to laugh for ourselves, to enjoy the time that we spend. And I'm hoping in the next few months, as you join us, that we can laugh about the things to come, that we learn to find humor in the things that we are experiencing right now, and that we can grow together despite our difficult circumstances and learn to appreciate each other. The third is the understanding the power of a question. Many of you come from a tradition where you've been the right person, you had all the answers, and not having the answer is super important, because a question is just the answer in reverse. And if you're asking the right questions, how can I grow as a human being? How can I impact the lives of others? The answers are on the way. And so learning to ask powerful questions is an important next step to where you're headed. And lastly, celebrate, and let's celebrate together. I find no greater joy than watching the success of my former students, watching the success of my colleagues. And as we collectively succeed and have collective success, we need to learn to celebrate each other as we grow through this process. And so, as the proverb says, until lions have historians, hunters will always be heroes. There's a bunch of heroes who are living unique lives here with us, and their story is yet to be told. And I'm honored to say that I'm a faculty member at Stanford University, and I have the privilege of watching you through that process. And so I want to close by saying, welcome to Stanford University, and I'm looking forward to you writing your own tale. So thank you, and have a great day.
All right. So next, we're going to have a brief video that will show you around different Black spaces on campus, made by one of our shining star sophomores, Temilore Owashile. Yeah, it's just a short video to show you around different spaces that we feel comfortable in, just to give you a brief view around different spots on campus. So.
Yeah, more dogs to do. I be hustle to work. Me do a leper, me and see. For more dogs to do. We been hustle to work. Me do a leper, my people dead. My people suffer. Them they pray for blessing. Me do a leper, my people dead. Them they pray for blessing, for better living. Kilo dale, aye ole to yo, aye ole dogo, adura lole show, call on daddy, adura gao.
So we are all very hopeful and very excited that you all will be able to partake in some of these spaces on campus in the fall. We are very, very optimistic about, the reopening plan of the school. So we really sincerely hope that you will be able to join us on campus. Next, we have a video submitted by a Stanford alum by the name of Alexandria Noel Butler, affectionately known as Lexi B. She wears many hats, including entrepreneur, speaker, editor, and writer. Raised in St. Louis, Missouri, and living in Silicon Valley, she graduated from Stanford in 2011 with majors in communication and Spanish. After informally documenting her escapades as a young professional, Lexi B founded Grown Up Truth to discuss the professional and personal experiences of millennials. With statistics that included 10,000 plus subscribers and 12,000 plus monthly hits. In March 2016, Lexi B joined Airbnb as a project manager, working on cross-functional initiatives in finance, compliance, and legal. When she is not project managing, she spends her time speaking on panels, leading workshops, and participating in keynote speaking engagements about a variety of topics, including diversity in tech, Blackness in America, career growth and development. Alexi B is a 2019 recipient of the Black Community Services Center Ira D. Hall Award that recognizes alums 30 and under making an impact in their respective industries. Oh, I'm sorry. Please join, please, we are so excited for you to watch this video, so please tune in. It is a very great video.
To the Stanford class of 2025. My name is Lexi B, and I am from the proud class of 2011. I am so excited to welcome you to this space. Welcome to your new home. You are not just your ancestors' dreams realized. Think that through. You are their dreams, their hopes, their opulence. You are their brilliance, their liberation, their revolution. You are their truth manifested into one being right now. And even though many of them may not be here with us physically in this virtual space, they are with you in spirit, soul, and love, guiding you, holding you, thanking you, and appreciating you for continuing the journey. I would like to offer you a few words of advice as you embark on this chapter in the fall. 1, find your authentic voice. And this is a very interesting piece of advice because your authentic voice should always be moving. There should always be layers added as you grow and learn more. But it is true that as you start your undergraduate career, especially at this brilliant and in-depth institution like Stanford University, this is where you're going to build your foundation. Challenge yourself. Challenge the norm that you're used to. Get to know people that you never thought you would ever interact with. Require them to challenge you and push them back, so you have a better understanding of what the world is and what it looks like. And then use that knowledge to power yourself to be greater and expect bigger things from you. 2, Find your passion. You know, everyone talks about going to college and trying to start a career, which is true. But many people don't discuss this idea that your passion should fuel your career, because your passion should ignite a fire inside you that makes you think, this is what I want to do and why I want to do it. So let me go find a path in which I can achieve that. Make sure of that. Double check your values, your ethics. Change them if you need to. Finally, bring all of this new knowledge and ignited fire and passion back home to the global diaspora, because we need you. Because of the people that came before you, you are. And because of you, the next generation will be. Use those talents, grow those talents, and bring them back so we can grow our people even more. And we can continue to liberate each other. Remember, Black is not a monolith. The global diaspora, though, can be so many things. And it always reigns true. We are Black, we are brilliant, and we are joyous. Bring that home as you seek it from others and as you find it. I am so excited for you. Welcome to the Chocolate Cardinal family. And remember, you are not alone. If any time you feel isolated, you feel lost, you feel confused, remember that one, you're not the first person that's done this or felt those feelings. And two, you have your own family, your own support system, the diaspora that is supporting you, and your new Chocolate Cardinal family that is not only rooting for you, but doing everything in their power to make sure that you shine. And not just because you deserve to shine, because you can and you already have. Have a wonderful day. I can't wait to see you in the fall. Welcome to Stanford. Be great.
Such amazing, amazing, deep words that resonated with me personally. I hope the message got across to everyone. And that was such a beautiful message that we are all here for you. The Black community on this campus, speaking personally, is very strong, very, very strong. Yeah. And there were quotes submitted by different alumni that reiterated what Lexi B said, that we are a community. You might be on APWI, but the Black community here is so strong, so resilient, so loving, so trusting, from the BCSC to Naja, for every single organization that's here for you, help you succeed. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. But yeah, take it away, Gabby.
Yeah, definitely. Just to reiterate with everything that Caleb said, we are all here for you, and we're really excited to welcome you into our amazing, strong, resilient, beautiful community. And so to get to know a few more of those community members, we'll be now hosting a panel in which we will be hearing from 4 students from each class here at Stanford, and it will be moderated by the lovely Malaysia Atwater, who will now be introducing the panelists, and we're really excited for you to hear and learn from all of them.
Hello, everyone. It is so nice to get to talk to you all today. I hope you guys are excited. I know this is kind of a weird virtual version of this, but hopefully it can still be as fulfilling as it would normally be. So yeah, for this student panel, we just really want to answer some of you guys' questions. These questions that I'm going to ask are pre-written, but you can ask questions in the Q&A section that you can see at the bottom of the Zoom screen, if you can see that. So yeah, you can start submitting questions there, and we'll right now just introduce all the different panelists. First, I'll do a quick introduction. My name is Malaysia. I use she, her pronouns. I am from Aurora, Colorado, planning to major in political science with a minor in ethics and technology. And I'm also a sophomore. We have a lot of sophomore representation today. And now if all the panels could just come on, or all the panelists could come on and introduce yourselves with your name, pronouns, hometown, major, and year, that would be great. And we can start off with Emily.
Hi, everyone. My name is Emily Nichols, and I use she, her pronouns. I'm from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and I'm currently majoring in science, technology, and society and African American studies with a minor in human rights.
Awesome. And next we can have Mia.
Hey y'all, my name is Mia. I use they, she pronouns, and I'm a senior majoring in African and African American studies with minors in Spanish and linguistics, and I consider both Chicago and the DMV home.
And then Mohammed.
Hey y'all, my name is Mohammed Juma. I use he, they pronouns. I'm from Anaheim, California, and I'm a junior majoring in human biology and minoring in African and African American studies.
And lastly, but certainly not least, Lily.
Hey y'all, I'm Lily. I'm a freshman, class of 24. I'm from Southern Missouri, and I'm studying French and International Relations.
Awesome. Okay, so we'll get right into it. And again, please feel free to drop any questions that you have in the chat or in the Q&A section. So our first question is, share with us your background, which is like hometown, high school, and what ultimately led you to choose Stanford. Oh, sorry, anyone can answer. Just hop on in.
Yeah, I think I can go ahead and start off. So for me, I'm from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and I attended Port Allen High School. And honestly, growing up, I never thought like about going to Stanford. The norm for my community was like everybody went to LSU or Southern University. So for me, when I did this program called Leadership Enterprise for a Diverse America, also known as LEADA, that's where I learned about Stanford, and I did a lot of research, and I ended up applying. And when I got to admit weekend, it's like, I think I really just fell in love with the campus, the location. It's beautiful out here. And I think also, most importantly, the Black community. I think that's what solidified my choice in going to Stanford. I just love the familial culture. I love how everybody is so open and supportive, and it's like, it's nothing but love in this community. So I think that really just solidified my my decision in coming here.
For me, so I come from like a really rural, kind of like underfunded high school. And so I wasn't like, for most of high school, I didn't even think I was gonna go to college like at all. But then I was introduced to colleges like Stanford through a program called QuestBridge. And so just kind of through that, that led me to apply to Stanford. And when I got in, I eventually chose Stanford just because the financial aid is incredible, but also I just like the opportunity to move across the country to California was very, very exciting, and I'm very glad that I chose Stanford.
Yeah, I can share next. I went to school in Fairfax, Virginia, so like in the suburbs, like 30 minutes south of DC. And I feel like a lot of the people at my school had exposure to like Ivies and stuff. I didn't really, like, I knew Stanford was good, I think from just like High School Musical. I didn't know like the acceptance rate. I was like, oh no, I'm like totally gonna get into Stanford, but was like really scared about Berkeley because I had like no context about anything. And I like did get in, but then Stanford was the only school that I didn't get the chance to like visit the campus, which was pretty important for me. And so I was unsure about coming, but knowing that they had like the first Black Studies program at any private institution was exciting to me. And I didn't want to like pass up the opportunity just because I didn't get the chance to come out here. So I kind of did everything on a whim, but I've had a really great experience. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, Mohammed, do you want to share? Everyone doesn't have to answer each question, so you can share if you want.
Yeah, sure. So I come from Southern California, eldest of five, low income and first generation. Went to a public high school, which was really diverse, but there was definitely a racial divide in terms of who was in what classes. So I kind of built community extracurricularly with, the Sudanese, Somali, Kenyan, Ethiopian community back home, as well as with 100 Black men, who really kind of supported me and encouraged me to kind of apply through the Quest Bridge program, like Lily. And, I guess we can talk more about it in future questions, but just really coming to campus and seeing this familial culture, seeing everybody who rides for you, was really something that made Stanford feel like home, which was why I ultimately decided to commit.
Yeah, thank you all so much for sharing that feeling of feeling like you're at home. I relate to that so much. And with that said, what was the transition to Stanford like for you, and what resources did you rely on to navigate? And specifically, Lily, if you don't mind asking, since you are a frosh right now and you've had to do kind of like this online transition specifically, what has that been like?
Yeah, so I really hope that class of 2025's experience transitioning to Stanford is a lot different than mine, just because I do not recommend transitioning into college, moving halfway across the country in the middle of a Panera Bread. It was an experience. But I do feel like I had a lot of like apprehension about how I was gonna melt into Stanford academically and socially, just because of my background. Like I still don't know a lot of people who are from like rural areas like me. Um, but honestly, like one of the things that I've found about Stanford that I really, really love is that in terms of making friends, they're really strong identity-based and also like activity-based communities. And it's not in a cliquey way where if you're like part of one group, you can't be part of another. But I've just met so many friends, not just through like the Black House, but also through like Christian Resources and like the Fly groups. So that's been really, really great in terms of making friends, and that's worked really well online too. And academically, I'm not gonna lie, I struggled a lot fall quarter, but I would say like you just have to give yourself some leeway, some time to adjust, because like for sure you're gonna do fine. Like Stanford chose you for a reason. It's just like there's a lot of stress that happens fall quarter, like when you're first coming to campus. So but yeah, overall, I would say my transition is really good. I hope your experience is in person and much different than mine. But I've really enjoyed my experience so far.
And then if anyone else wants to speak to their transition coming on campus, that would also be great.
Yeah, so I'd say for me, kind of having a, more normalish transition, it was still overwhelming, trying to make friends while getting a strong footing in classes was a lot. I'm pre-med and I was a bit intimidated by, the deluge of students who came from wealthy backgrounds, who came from rigorous private schools, and I didn't necessarily have that background, but Stanford has an abundance of like services to really support you academically, tutoring services. The Black community is a huge resource. Me and my friend Sierra, like we really stuck like glue. And I will say that the culture here is really supportive academically. The Stanford Black Pre-Medical Organization and a bunch of other pre-professional organizations really pull through in terms of supporting and providing advice, sharing resources like practice tests. You can shoot a text in the Black at Stanford chat about any class or any advice. Somebody will be there to answer you and really help you out. Also, like the Black Community Services Center's Big SIP, Little SIP program was really helpful in terms of meeting upperclassmen who really kind of, already had some experiences and could speak to some of, my worries and concerns. The Fly office, there's this opportunity fund that you can really draw from if you really need any financial support, such as, if you need to buy a suit for interviews, if you want to get a job on campus. That was something that I needed. And, the opportunity fund through the Fly office was something that really helped me out. And all that's to say, there's really a culture of support and there's just so many resources on campus that you can really take advantage of.
Okay, awesome. And Mohammed, you kind of touched on this on like how finding community and gaining a sense of belonging looked like, at least in Black spaces, but I guess more generally, how has it been? How are you able to find community and gain a sense of belonging just in general on campus? And what role has this played in your growth, both academically, socially, and emotionally? And this is open to anyone.
I can talk a little bit about how I've found community on campus. I'd say my freshman year, a lot of it was through the Black Student Union, my time on high school conference. I had a really great time and have met some of my closest friends through that experience, and then came back next year. Some of my interns are on this call. But yeah, I think I had a little bit of trouble making friends my freshman year and even into my sophomore year. So spaces on campus like OOJ and the BSU were really critical for me. And then my sophomore year, I joined Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Psi Beta chapter, and that was also a really important way for me to find community. So I'd say all of the different Black spaces on campus have been really integral in me finding like belonging.
Yes, I agree. And I think definitely I just want to bump living in Ujama, which is a Black ethnic themed dorm here at Stanford. Like that was really instrumental for me my frosh year. So I highly recommend that all y'all at some point try to live there if you can. I think like the bonding events, the RAs, the community, it was just an amazing experience for me, especially because I grew up in a predominantly Black community. So I was really, once I matriculated to Stanford, I was looking for that space where it's like, I feel at home. And OOJ definitely was one of those spaces where it's like, I felt safe. I had people who can relate to some of the things I'm going through. And it's like, it was just a great experience. And I also think the Black Community Service Center was super instrumental in helping me find community. I served as a Black House intern my freshman year where I got to meet more upperclassmen and really just gain a lot of insight about Stanford and like how to navigate this particular institution. And then it's like from there I was able to kind of like work my way up, and it's like now I'm kind of serving as a mentor to others. So it's like really carrying that torch has been also something that's been a guiding light for me, and something I think has really continued to move me forward in my Stanford journey.
Yeah, and Emily, you talked about your experience in OOJ. Can you talk a little bit more about, and this is open to anyone, just your frosh dorm experience and what that was like?
Yes, I think my first dorm experience was amazing. Like, in OOJ, we got to do a lot of different things. Like, we took a dorm trip to Los Angeles, where we got to go to like Universal Studios, Disney World, whatever you want to call it, Universal Studios, and just have like a really good time. Really just exploring like LA. And I also think the bonding events, like my RAs were like, they had like different cooking sessions for us where they would make us like meals, and they will take us around campus and to different spots in SF, San Francisco. And that was a really good experience for me too. And I also think the students there too, like the frosh, we were like really tight knit. So we will always like, go out together, go to downtown Palo Alto and just have a good time and, really just bond and get to know one another.
Yeah, I could also share. So I'll just say I was also a frosh in Ujima, and I can say like, especially in those first few weeks, one thing that really helped me feel at home was one of my RAs. And I was like really overwhelmed, and like they were absolutely there for me. I remember like my RA, Kaylin, she came up to me, it was very simple. She said, "How are you doing?" And she said, "I don't want to hear good or fine. I really want to know how you're really doing." And to me, that was revolutionary, just like knowing that people were genuinely invested in kind of seeing how I was doing and kind of helping me to get to the place that I needed to be to feel safe and secure on campus. And I'll say just in terms of other memories, like, I had the amazing opportunity to go to New Orleans, Louisiana for Mardi Gras through, this program at Ujima. And, there's just a bunch of opportunity, and living in Ujima your first year, it's not make or break. Like you can have an amazing, stellar experience, even at the plenty of other, dorms on campus. I've heard experiences of my friends who lived, such as in Donner, which is an East Campus dorm, and how they felt supported by their RAs and kind of felt at home at their community. It's definitely a both and situation in which you can still feel at home on East Campus or other dorms that are not Ujima, while still feeling included in the Black community through opportunities in BSU and other programs at Ujima that are open to the entire community. So definitely don't feel bad if you don't live in Ujima your first year.
Yeah, I would say, sorry, Malaysia. Just on that same note, I'm a first year. I don't currently live in Ujima. I live in All Fresh housing in Wilbur, and I highly recommend the All Fresh experience. Ujima is not like the only way that you can get involved in the Black community, obviously. Like I'm still super involved at in the different BVSOs and at BCSC, and I don't live in Uj. And I do highly recommend All Fresh housing as well, if that's something that you're considering. It's been a great experience for me just to kind of be around people who are like in the same boat as me. So I highly recommend if that's something you're considering.
Yeah, and I actually also lived in an all frosh dorm my frosh year and had the time of my life. So just to echo what everyone's already saying, like regardless of where you live, it's going to be a great experience, and there are always more ways to plug into the Black community. And now that we've talked about some of like the super fun aspects of Stanford, I just want to ask, like, what has your biggest hurdle during your time at Stanford been?
I think for me, one of my biggest hurdles has been always feeling like I'm a little bit behind everyone else, which I guess is where like that imposter syndrome comes in. I remember like when I got here, a lot of people were in like summer programs and already had friends during NSO, and I was just kind of looking around again, very confused. And then like people were getting Google internships freshman fall, and I was very confused by that as well. And so I think I've been a little stuck in like comparing myself to other people, but like in the last year or two, I think I felt a lot more comfortable going down like my own path and making my own timeline. And I think once I stopped like comparing my pace to others, I was a lot more happy. But yeah, for a while, that was one of my hurdles.
I will say, Stanford is still like a predominantly white institution. So I guess in terms of some classes, such as in the humanities and even in STEM, there are certain moments, I guess in my experience, at least where I felt like, this uncomfortable experience of having to listen to or respond to, devil's advocates. It can be really uncomfortable, but I think, speaking back to the video from the alum earlier, you got to remind yourself that, one, your own piece comes first, and two, you do have a community that relates and that really has your back. And beyond that, there's one thing I'd recommend for everybody is take at least one course in African and African American studies, a course taught by a Black professor. It is an excellent experience. And, I consider African American Studies, or AAAS, really one of my many homes on campus, just because, just sitting in a class filled with a bunch of other Black folks. I'm taking a class called Black Popular Culture this quarter. And we just, talk about different things such as, 90s films, in living color, and TV shows. And it's just an amazing experience generally. So even though there's spaces on, in terms of classrooms where you might not necessarily feel the most comfortable in terms of talking about things of issues relating to race, there's other classroom settings such as, AAAS classes where, absolutely is, a home for you. So.
Yeah, thank you both so much for sharing. I also just want to get the incoming frosh a little excited for some of the many things that you might experience when you're on campus. So what was you guys' favorite Stanford memory that you've had so far?
I'll start. So I went fountain hopping, and I mean it was a little like the day that they opened, they just started the fountains. Just started running them again. But that was it was really fun. It was a really interesting experience. But I went with like my frosh dorm. It was a big group of us that got to go. And it was just a good experience. Just like campus is kind of opening up right now, which is really, really nice. And so we've started to be able to do like more in-person things. And so I guess it was just a really good way for us to kind of celebrate just how difficult this year has been and like actually see each other in person. And so I really enjoyed going fountain hopping.
Yeah. I think for me, I already mentioned the dorm trip to LA. I think that was one of my favorite memories. And outside that, I would definitely have to say like the Stanford versus Berkeley football game. So basically, Berkeley is like our rival. And a lot of like the Black students from Berkeley, they put on an event with the Stanford Black Student Union where they actually came to our campus, and we had a cookout and like a dancing, and it was just a really, really good time. And I think for me, like the energy there was just so good, and everybody was just vibing and having a good time. And I think also just being surrounded by so many Black people and having that sense of community and like just that really good experience. I think that was something that just brought me so much joy as I like kind of like process my time at Stanford as a frosh.
I just threw one of my favorite memories in there as well. But for the sake of time, we're going to go on to the last question. What's the best piece of advice you received before coming to Stanford, and how have you applied it since then? And also, if you could just throw in one piece of advice for incoming frosh.
I will say, I'm going to give you an example of really good advice that I got that I did not take. Everybody told me, Lily, do not take 20 units. Don't do it ever. Like, don't, for your first year, you need to take it easy. And I was like, no, I'm going to be fine. Like, I'm going to take a full 20 units. And I've done that all 3 quarters thus far, like all 3 quarters, fall, winter, spring. And every quarter, every single quarter, I've regretted it. I end up dropping a class, or like fall quarter, I withdrew from a class. So I have a W on my transcripts. Like, just take it, like, it's okay. Like, you don't have to go full force ahead your first year. Like, just take it easy, relax. Like, don't take a full 20 units. Just don't. Like, there's no reason. It's not worth it. There's no benefit. It's just gonna stress you out. Don't do it. So that's my advice.
I don't know about advice that I've received, but advice that I'd give would be that you're never the first person, the only person, or the last person to like experience any hurdle. Like there's always somebody who's like had that same issue before you, who's going through it at the same time, or like somebody who will later on. So like never feel like you have to like experience anything alone. Always ask an upperclassman or a peer, because there's somebody out there with the answer. I know it can feel really easy to just kind of like sit there alone trying to figure it out, but you never have to do that. And I'd also say it's never too early or too late to put yourself out there. As a fraudster, it can be intimidating to like reach out to professors, but I know I did that and like found a mentor for the next 2 years, just by being like, hey, can you give me a job? And he was like, sure, why not? And about it not being too late, I know sometimes deadlines are a little hard, and so like always ask for that extension if you need it, or like, you know, reach out for a grace period. Like it's never too late to ask for help. So those would be my advice.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for all of these wonderful and thoughtful answers. We're now going to transition into the live Q&A session.
Hey everybody, I'm Dom Johnson, pronouns she and they. I serve as the Associate Director at the Black House. Thank you so much for joining us. I see these questions. I've been trying to answer some of them. Some of our panelists have also been trying to answer some of them. So we are going to move on down the road here. For our panelists, as well as our Brock coordinators, these questions are open to all of y'all, right? So just throw out your answers as you may. Oh, we got a few questions that got bumped up. Okay, so imposter syndrome is real at Stanford, but can you speak to the specific issues of feeling included as a Black student, especially those difficult STEM and computer science classes? Floor is open.
Whew. All right. So I am, like I said, I'm a chemical engineering major. Depending on who you ask, they might say, I sold my soul or whatever. They like to think of the chemical engineering department is very hard on campus. So, and the representation of Blackness in the chemical engineering department is very little. So, so like my first year when I was actively taking those courses to try to get something out of the way, there was a time where it was me and my friend DeGreer, and that's it. And when we were the only 2 Black students in the class. And although the class was taught by a Black professor, which I greatly appreciated, the fact that there isn't, I'm not gonna say there isn't a lot of representation of Blackness in STEM, but it's depending on where you look, there may be some more than others, right? So imposter syndrome, there's a bunch of people on campus that did a lot of different things. Some people started organizations, some people have worked with the president, and you're here for a reason. There is no such thing as affirmative action. That doesn't exist, right? The Stanford admissions officers saw something in you that compelled them to let you into the school. You're not here by accident. There's no grace of God or anything that got you here by accident. You deserve to be here. You are qualified as the rest of the people you are going to school with. And don't let nobody tell you different, because you know what? Going through these classes and seeing these people with different levels of STEM experience that I didn't get coming from Chicago may not be as high of a school. I thought I was underprepared, but I went in there and I worked my behind off, and I managed to get great grades in my classes. So don't let nobody tell you you can't do nothing, because you can, and that's period. Okay, I'm sorry, I went off on a tangent, but anybody else want to answer the question, y'all can.
That was a whole word. Anybody want to add to that before we move on? No? All right. Next question. And I know there's a few AAAS folks here. So folks want to know, what are the classes they have to take? What is it like being in these courses? Just speak on what it is to be involved with AAAS.
I can start. My AAAS courses have been the best courses that I've taken at this school. Like, I knew coming in that I wanted to take AAAS courses, that I probably wanted to major in it. But the first class I ever took was taught by, it's not even arguable, he is a legend. It was taught by Dr. Claiborne Carson, and he's pretty much an expert on like Martin Luther King and like the civil rights movement. And it was such a fulfilling class, and he is such like a nice person, and just like the opportunity to like meet him and like learn from him was truly amazing. And it's just being in those classes where a lot of the students are also Black, and like just having that sense of community in the classroom is really amazing, especially here at Stanford. And yeah, so if any of you come, like those of you who come here, like I highly recommend taking a AAAS class. Even if you don't major or minor in it, it's just a really fulfilling experience, and you get to meet a lot of really cool like university professors and just like people who might help you on your academic journey. So
would anybody else like to tag in on this one before we move on?
I can hop in really quickly. Sorry, Mia, I'll be super quick. I'm not majoring or minoring in AAAS, but I have had the privilege of taking a number of classes. And one class that I can't help but recommend is course code African American Studies 31, which is just a 1-unit class offered, I think, all 3 quarters, and it allows you to meet and engage with Black faculty, professors, and other influential Black members here at Stanford. And it's just a really great way for you to get introduced not only to the community, but academic side of the Black community here at Stanford. And so definitely recommend taking that.
Mia, did you want to jump in, or?
Oh, I was just gonna second what everybody said about taking a class in AAAS. I will say that, like, as a major, the lack of support from like higher level administration has been a little difficult, to be transparent about that. So definitely like reach out. I know Crystal's in the office; she's very supportive. So like lean on the staff who are there. We're working toward departmentalization, so hopefully it will be a lot smoother in the years to come. But the staff are all great, and I appreciate them all. So definitely lean on them if you ever have questions.
Awesome, thank you. So we got some real important questions here. One of which is when I was going to college, I didn't even think nothing about, because I just assumed everybody cooked like my mama, and I quickly found out that that is not the real. So we have 2-parter on this one. One, even though the person asked specifically about African food, our community is filled with folks not from America, right? All Black, but just not from America. So for folks who have identities that land them outside of American Blackness, where do you get your food from? And for everybody, what's the food on campus like? Like, for real, for real. Like, are y'all really eating on campus? Talk to us.
Okay, so I personally really like the dining hall food. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, I think it's really good. At Stern Dining Hall, they have burrito bowls every day. I don't know what it's like right now because not everyone's on campus, but like last year they had burrito bowls every day. In Wilbur Dining, they had like this burger bar where you literally tell people what you wanted on your burger and they make it right in front of you. So good. And there's like the Axe and Palm that you can use dining dollars on, and like has nice greasy like oily fries and chicken and burgers and stuff, and everything's really healthy. Like it seems it's not difficult to be healthy on the campus, which I personally appreciate.
Yeah, I can speak a bit to the, I guess, diasporic foods. So I mean, it's not home cooked food, but like there's definitely organizations like, the BSU, the Caribbean Students Association, NIJA, which is, specifically relating to the Nigerian folks on campus, as well as just a whole bunch of other organizations. And one of the events we actually did last year was this event called Love is Black. And we had foods, Nigerian food, we had Eritrean, Ethiopian food, as well as, Black American soul food. And it was just like this melting pot of culture and just everyone coming together just to eat. So like these different organizations also bring, the real, like actually, like the real deal type of food. So, through different events, you can definitely experience that, even if, the dining hall foods might not necessarily replicate what you have at home.
I will say that there are high highs and low lows in Stanford dining. And to be completely transparent, I did carry seasoning with me everywhere I went. So if that's a way in which you want to prepare, put that on the dorm list for things for move-in. Definitely recommend.
Yes, thank you. I do want to be mindful of everybody's time. It is 2:00. I do feel like we have space. Panelists, if you do have space to answer a few more questions, please stay on. I just wanted to recognize that we are at 2:00. Okay, so thank you for the food because that is very, very important. Now, something else I didn't really consider because I mean, I'm from South Central LA. So again, I just assumed everybody was out here partying and doing all the things and being blackety black, black, black. And then I went to a PWI and found out, no, that is not the case. So how do Black students get down? Like, where are y'all hanging out? What's the social scene looking like? Are y'all dating? Like, what are we doing in the Black community? What's up? Talk to us. You don't have to put your personal business out there. Just let us know if people in the community are dating. Don't do that.
Well, there is dating, however small. There are different reasons for that. I don't know if it's in my bounds to say why, but there are different reasons as to why the dating scene within the Black community is small. It does exist. You will find very strong relationships actually within the Black community. So it is not impossible, but maybe improbable. But I'm just keeping it real. Yeah, but the social community is there. The dating scene is, it lacks. So yeah.
I'm gonna hop in on that social community point. So Caleb, I think you're like kind of right about the dating, but also like the dating scene in general isn't like people are working for Facebook. Like, I'm sorry, that's just how it is. But read the social scene. Obviously, like this has been a virtual year for me. And even with it being a virtual year, just the virtual programming, like I have been to get downs and speed dating. And I'm going to a Black community event tonight where we're going to watch Beyonce. And like, it has been, I feel like I have had a fulfilling social experience and we're not even like together. So I would say that the Black social scene is thriving on campus personally, especially in comparison, now that I want to compare, but like I've had a really great time going to Black community events, even in relation to like the other identity-based communities I'm a part of. So I would say that there's a really strong social scene, and that's from somebody who has not like met any of the people in this Zoom in person. So
you're absolutely right. The social scene is great. Go ahead, Malaysia.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say on the dating side, it's really I think the reason why the numbers are low is because the number of Black students in proportion to the whole population is low. Like, I have a lot of friends who are in committed relationships right now within the Black community. So I'm not going to say like, it's not going to happen. Like, there are people who are in relationships and they're very strong relationships and all lovey-dovey, pretty jealous of them, but whatever. I digress. Like, it is definitely possible. And I think on the side of like parties, I just wanted to point out that the BSU parties are so fun. Like, they never fail. Like, everyone is just so hyped and so lit, and it's such a great experience. Like, just a room full of Black people it's great. And also parties that like the Kappas and the Alphas throw, 12 out of 10 recommend. And the AKAs if y'all, if y'all put something on. So yeah, very much so, like all of that.
So it sounds like that the community is a little lit, that y'all do have fun. So that is very good to hear. Very excited to see what that's going to look like. So we got 2 more questions. Okay, so one, which I feel is fairly important, for folks who have lived in Ujamaa, does living only with Black folks prevent you from socializing outside of the Black community? Like, can I be Black and also vibe with other people? Talk to us.
Yeah, I feel like for me, I had a good experience. Like, I was able to go to different dorms. Like, a lot of my friends, they lived in all frosh dorms and different things like that. So, if I wanted to leave Uj for a night, I'll just pack up, go to their dorm, and I'm a resident there for that night. So I think like it's a really good experience. I think like just because you live in Uj, that doesn't mean like you're kind of separate from the rest of the Stanford community. I think between classes, different orgs that you're a part of, and I think like honestly just through being a student at Stanford and going to different events, like you're gonna meet a lot of people from different backgrounds, from different experiences. So I think like for me personally, I didn't have that particular struggle.
Yeah, similarly, I think through like classes and just like a lot of different spaces on campus, you definitely get the opportunity to interact with folks outside of the Black community. I think for me, my goal was to interact mostly with folks inside the Black community, so I didn't feel like deprived. But like neither of my roommates were Black freshman year, and I lived in Uj. So, like I still got a lot of opportunity to interact with folks who were like not Black.
All right, awesome, y'all, awesome. Okay, last question, because it's something that as a I guess a first year as myself, I am struggling with. These quarter systems, bro, like talk to us about this. Like what's that about? Like are y'all okay with finals? How quickly the finals come up? What's the midterms? Like what's those schedules looking like in these quarters? Help us understand.
Okay, so y'all know how like we love to criticize America, like, as participants of like the United States democracy, etc., etc. Like it has a lot of problems, but as soon as someone from like England or something like goes in, like all of a sudden I'm like Uncle Sam. That's how I feel about the quarter system. Like it has its problems for sure, but like I will defend it to the death against semester like systems, because like I took like, for example, Math 51 in my freshman fall, and if I had to be in that class for 15 weeks, I'm sorry. Like y'all probably would not see me here today. So I do think that there are a lot of benefits that come out of the quarter system and being able to try out larger variety of classes, and really just having more time to like explore the academic scene here at Stanford, and get to know more professors and things like that. But it does feel a little bit high paced, because like right now we're in week 3, and week 3 to week 10 is kind of just very fast paced, but you definitely learn to adjust, and I do think it's a little bit more difficult online, but I think especially when you're surrounded by community and you have people to like study with and interact with, as we will hopefully be back on campus next year, it definitely gets easier as the quarters go on.
Yeah, and just to quickly add to that, like what Gabby was saying about like after a few weeks, just be like, okay, I'm done with this. Like I want to switch classes. Like the classes are so incredible, but I think that so many cool classes are offered that it's like, okay, I've gotten what I need out of this one. Let me take something else. Like I'm ready to move on. So for me, I like how short the quarter system is because it's like it gives you great exposure to the content and like you get all this knowledge and it's like, okay, now I get to select like 3 to 5 brand new classes. Like I'm a nerd. So that's like heaven. So I love it.
That's what's up.
Oh, sorry, that's my bad. I was just gonna say real quick on the note of finals. It is true that finals and midterms do come quick, but also you're taking less classes at one time, and I love that. So it's not gonna be like 6 finals altogether. You're usually taking like 3 to 4 classes in a quarter. So I feel like it balances out in that way.
And to conclude, there was one question I saw. I want to be very clear. It was asking about, it said it seems kind of fun to be involved with the Black House and to be an active member in the community, but is it important? Don't mess around and find out. Don't mess around and find out, okay? The Black House or the Black Community Services Center is here for y'all, right? We are here to support you, and that is academically, that is also socially, right? So there are a lot of students who experience various issues around transitioning. Like this is a huge step, y'all. Y'all have spent a majority of your life trying to make it to this point, but this is not the end, right? Making it to your freshman year is not the end. Graduating also is not the end. Actually being a thriving human being post-college, that is the goal. And that is our job. We support you, we work with you. So coming in as a first year, you have the Big Sib, Little Sib program, right? Make sure you come to our Chocolate Cardinals game night tomorrow so you can actually find out a little bit more information about that. Our Brock coordinators put on that program as well as this program here, okay? Make sure you find out about edges. I'm not gonna even spell out what edges mean. Make sure you at Chocolate Cardinal game night tomorrow so you can find out all this information, okay? Yes, it is very fun to be, like, you see the panelists, you see we up here having a good time. It is so much fun to be involved in the Black community, but it is imperative to survival as well. We are here for each other. We are here for ourselves, and we are making sure that we are moving forward. So thank y'all so much for choosing us to be your next community that you plan to get involved with. We are so excited to meet y'all and to be all together, be it hybrid, virtual, and non-physical, whatever we doing next year, it doesn't even matter. As you can see, Lily has only been really a part of this community in a virtual standpoint, and she loves it, right? Come find out. Come have some fun with us. This concludes our welcome. Am I passing this off to somebody? Yes, Brock coordinators, take it away.
Yeah, just thank you all for coming. We just wanted to reiterate that tomorrow we're having our speed friending game night social type thing, and it'll be just us students. So y'all can come in, ask us any more questions that you have if your questions didn't get answered today. But yeah, thank you for coming, and we'll pass it back over to Dr. Ross for some quick closing remarks.
Yes, so thank you everyone. We're reiterating all of the love. Thank you to all of our panelists, our moderator, to Dom, for just sharing all your knowledge with everyone today. And hopefully all of you have a better sense of the Black excellence that is our Chocolate Cardinal family here at Stanford. Again, I'm gonna keep plugging Cardinal Quad because we are hoping that more of you will join us over there. You can ask more questions. A lot of our Brock coordinators all have access so they can chat with you as well. So join us on Cardinal Quad. I hope that y'all will tune in to the speed friending event tomorrow. Again, the link is in the chat and it's also on Cardinal Quad as well. All right, so I hope y'all enjoy the rest of your day and attend some of the other community center welcomes that are happening today and over the weekend. And we hope to see y'all in the fall. Good luck with making your final decision. Bye-bye.
Awesome. Somebody asked for our contact info. We could plug that here, but it's also, we can put it on Cardinal Quad.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will all put our information in the chat, and it will also be on Cardinal Quad. So yes, we hope you will join us tomorrow. Just students hanging out, having a good time. So yeah, thank you all for attending this event.
Yeah, and I noticed that some of y'all had questions about some other programming from the Black House and from Brock. So we might be able to go into detail about that a little bit tomorrow and on Cardinal Quad if you guys have any further questions. And yes, thank you so much for coming today.